Welcome to Colossals of Horror Podcast.
Hello and welcome to our second episode of Colossals of Horror. I'm your host, Darren Mitchell, along with my co-host.
Of course, Lawrence Brown. So, guys, let's start it out. So go grab that beer, pull up a chair, and let's get this started.
Okay, well, today we're going to discuss a Finnish film. And, you know, we're going to talk about...
and by Finnish, he means the origin of the country, not it's finished. So.
Yes. But I thought it was a good movie because me and Lawrence, you know, we're from Pennsylvania here, and we've gotten a lot of snow lately. So it kind of put me back in the Christmas spirit, even though it's February.
Yes, this film. Well, first of all, let's
Talk
say
about
what the
the
intro
film.
is.
Okay, so
well, no, the intro of the title.
The title of the film is Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. And it's actually a series of a few films. We haven't watched the other films yet, but we've watched this first one, and I think it's a good one. So we decided to talk about it.
The other films, it's a trilogy actually, and this is actually the third installment. I don't think it's really any kind of film where like you have to follow the first one to see, like, know what's going on. It's almost like the Tales from the Crypt in a way where just one story, but like that's the vibe I got from it. So the first one is called Rare Exports, Inc., and that came out in 2003. And then there's Rare Exports Safety Instructions, which came out in 2005. And all of these are like Christmas-based horror films. So they're definitely good for, in my opinion, a holiday horror flick.
Yeah, and I've seen this film. I watched it, I'd say 6 months ago, and I kind of watched it again recently. I watched it about 2 or 3 days ago, and
well, it's weird because we've like I said earlier before we started this, we've been talking about this film like about 6 months ago when he actually first watched it, because I've been seeing it on Netflix. For some reason it's been on there for like 2 years, and I always saw the front cover and I was like, this movie just looks ridiculous. But the one thing that threw me off and didn't make me watch it was that it is a subtitled movie.
yes, it is subtitled. You do have to read when you watch it, but that really doesn't deter me from a film. I actually think it's pretty interesting when I watch it.
Well, that's one thing about this film, which I'll say later on as well, is that it really, I didn't even notice that I was reading while I was watching it. It was that good. So.
Yeah, you kind of get zoned into it as you're going on. Well, let's just first start out talking about, it was directed by, and I hope I don't butcher the names too well, but Jalmari Headlander.
Yep. He was also the writer as well.
He was the writer as well. The special effects and the pyro in the movie was Dan Eric Hägglund, and he's from SFX Compliant. The score was by Finivox Studios. Visual design and the art in this film is actually really, really good.
Well, on that note too, I looked it up on IMDb, and it actually won a bunch of awards for cinematography and art design in like the Finland, European Sundance Film Festivals. It won a bunch of awards for that. So like visually it is a beautiful film too.
Yeah, and you'll notice like as you're watching it, there's little drawings throughout it too, and that art was just really cool.
You know what my first impression with this movie, even with the cover, it has a very like Tim Burton like horror film to me, like,
kind of,
or like a European Tim Burton vibe, like because it has like the dark Christmas, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it just totally gave out that vibe for me, even just like when we were talking about the whole like visual of it. So.
Well, let me just, since we're talking about the art, it was done by Fake Graphics Inc. So Fake Graphics Inc., they're very good at what they do. Also, the post-production was done by Generator Post in this film. We'll go over a little bit of some of the characters. Pietre is Nani Tamalia. Ranu is Jorma Tamalia. And, Almo is Tommy Corpella. And they're the three main characters in the film. Pietri is the little boy, Rano is his friend, and Almo is the father.
Which I'm sure you're not going to remember any of these actors' actual
names.
But
I figure since we're talking about it, we might as well
still got to throw it in.
Throw it in there, that's right. So that gives a little bit of the intro of the movie, a little bit of the background of the movie, and kind of how we discovered it. Again, it was on Netflix.
And actually, before we go into the plot summary, I actually did some research on this. This will kind of break down what the movie's kind of about. So it was filmed in, again, we're going to butcher every word we say in this. It's a foreign or Finnish word. But it was filmed in the can you pronounce that, Darren? Korvantori Mountains. And it's located in Russia, or between Russia and Finland. And we'll go more into it with the plot when we go into the plot of the movie. But this area is actually best known as to be the home of Father Christmas in Finnish folklore. So that plays a big part in it then,
Yeah,
obviously.
it does play a big part into it.
And so I guess it's pretty much the place where it's Finland's answer to the North Pole, more or less. And that's where they believe Santa lived, had his workshop. And over there, I guess instead of elves, they just call them gnomes, who like made all the toys and stuff. So that will be coming into a big part of the movie as well. So that background with the Finnish folklore. So,
well, since we're talking about it,
Yeah.
we might as well go
Plot
into
summary.
the plot summary. Yeah. So the plot summary is pretty interesting because it's definitely set in like rural Finland. I
it's not
guess,
even
or-
rural. It's like in the middle of freaking nowhere. Like
Yeah.
you're in the middle. There's a mountain, and then it's like 3 families.
Pretty much
around
all the
this.
characters carry guns around. And
Yeah.
They walk around and they hunt their own food and they live off.
To relate it to an
a wood
American area,
stove.
you'd have to say like Alaska, where you literally have like probably like 2 neighbors in like a 20-mile radius.
Yeah.
So
It starts off and you know-
starts out with a family who it's a boy, that Pietri or whatever, who I will never pronounce his name right, and his,
Pietre
and
or
his
something like that.
father, and it starts out there where it's their family lives on a reindeer farm, which again going with the whole Christmas vibe, and they raise and I also guess butcher reindeer there, don't they? Because
They might, because the father's a
room.
butcher, which also makes it kind of creepy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little nuances in this film that make it really creepy.
Yeah.
It's very dark. It's intended to be dark, which is cool.
So, but yeah, not to digress again, but so let's get this plot down. So the plot is that boy and his father they live right below this mountaintop that we were talking about earlier, and right before you go to into the mountain by their house, it's a very eerie, weird mountaintop that is gated and filled with like barbed wire and stuff that you obviously know you just cannot go into. And atop of this mountaintop, the movie starts out with a crew of construction workers who are actually American. That's the only part of the movie that is not subtitled.
Yeah,
It's
I think
Americans
so.
who are digging up and like having dynamite, blowing up this mountaintop, and you're really not sure why.
Well,
or
it's
what's
because the
going
movie
on.
starts with the infamous guy. I guess it was on his. I don't know. It doesn't really play out so much in the film, but you kind of get the feeling that he's the bad guy and he's on to like looking for Santa Claus.
Well,
or something like that.
yeah. Let's go into that because at the beginning I forgot they do actually start out with the folklore.
Yeah,
they
do.
They start
They do a
out
little
explaining
bit.
the folklore of this story, more or less.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay, well, the folklore is that apparently Santa Claus wasn't a happy, put presents under your tree kind of guy.
Yeah, they
that he
refer
was-
to him as monsters, and apparently thousands of years ago, these villagers were tormented by these monsters, which they kind of more or less want you to think, obviously, the gnomes and then Santa Claus. And I guess one day, and they're explaining this all through like children's drawings in the beginning of the whole history
which
of
was
it.
fake graphics again.
Yeah, which
with
was the
their art.
graphics.
Mhm.
And I guess the story is that these villagers one day finally, I guess, tricked the monsters onto a frozen lake, where then they ended up, I guess, the ice broke and they fell into it and froze. And but then there was one who you obviously start to think that is Santa, who's the most feared monster. They actually end up digging him out because he's so evil that they needed to bury him in the deep pit of the mountain.
And that's where
And that's where then it
apparently
goes,
the mountain is like the catacombs
Yeah.
of Santa Claus and his elves.
which then
and so
then
forth.
it cuts to the American workers onto the mountaintop, and you're like, okay, we know what's going on here.
And that's what happens. The bad guy flies in on his helicopter, and he's basically instructing the contractors to blow up the mountain.
It's almost like a classic Indiana Jones movie if you think about it. The rich evil guy with all the money in the world, and trying to find some secret artifact of some sort.
Yeah,
which
that's
in
pretty
this
much-
movie is Santa Claus.
Yeah. So it goes on, and Pietre, the little boy, and his friend Rano, right from the beginning, they're skeptical about Santa Claus. They kind of, I guess, they snuck up there to the construction site and maybe witnessed more than they should have with the extraction of, I guess, Santa Claus. It's kind of, you don't know anything yet.
Well, I think they go up there with, again, growing up with that folklore of knowing there is something evil in this area, and they have that idea that something is, like, they're digging up what they've heard about since they were kids, as like but as bedtime stories. So,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they grew up as kids
So they have an idea of like in their minds and their deepest nightmares of like, like when we're kids, like, oh, the boogeyman's under our bed. That's the same thing they're thinking of is what's going on. So,
But what gets cool from there is obviously Pietre and his friend Rano. They're starting to think that there's Santa Claus on the loose now, and it's actually played. The movie's played out through 30 days of Christmas, like before Christmas. And it's just funny and interesting. That
actually, no, it doesn't. It starts out the day before Christmas.
It shows 30 days, and then I think it goes.
Then it cuts to the day before. Yeah.
And it's funny because
that's how it all starts. Because then obviously Santa's coming to see you.
Yeah.
So
well, they had the what I liked about it was first of all, Pietre he played really well in the movie. He was a really good child actor, and
yeah, he actually was.
He played a really good dark character in it, and when we were all little kids, we had that little countdown calendar with your chocolates in it.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it was, the day before Christmas or whatever. And I thought they had a cool scene
Advent
in it.
calendar.
Yeah, they had a cool scene in it where, it's getting closer to Christmas and Pietre's still scared that Santa's out on the loose, that he staples the last door to open on the 24th.
Yeah, he starts stapling, taping.
So he doesn't open it because he doesn't want it to come because that'll be his demise.
Yeah. And also, too, I forgot to bring up too. After the kids sneak up on the mountain, and we know like what's going on with the background story, they do reveal kind of like it. Again, this was another thing that it really made me think of was like the movie The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing. They end up pulling out this big block of ice, and something's in it, but you're never told what. And then I guess there's one scene where it actually cuts to the kids. They snuck into the place, and you just see it melted, and nothing's there. So we have an idea that there is some evil on the loose now.
Something on the loose. And the movie, I don't want to give away too much of it because I think it's a really good movie, and I think everyone should see it. Just because it's a Christmas horror film that's creepy, and it's not something cheesy like that. What's that? Is it Jack Frost or not Jack Frost?
Oh God, the 1999, Jack Frost. It's definitely it's not cheesy. Like I said, it has a very
it's pretty deep.
Yeah, it's almost like an educated horror movie, or not even educated. It's just like, to me, you really go back to like when you were a kid when you're watching it. Like I wrote down, it reminded me like of a child like Night of the Living Dead almost.
Yeah,
it just has a very feel. Heartwarming vibe to it in a way, because I mean everyone loves Christmas, but then there's this horror going around, and it's not even like, it's definitely not gore. It's just this creepy.
I like
evil.
to call it tasteful horror.
Yeah,
it's tastefully done. The way it was edited, even the music they did was really good in this as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a unique story. I've never seen a movie like this ever.
No, it's really good. I definitely want to see the other two Rare Export movies. Since seeing
we tried looking those up too. I mean, maybe that'll be our next Ginger Clown. We'll
start
searching around for these because I haven't seen them anywhere. So.
Yeah. But as the story goes on, the dad sets a pit because they live so rural. There's a lot of they call them, out there it was Russian wolves.
Yeah, some
Russian wolves.
Like that,
so the dad sets out a pig head outside of a pit with spikes. I guess like 20 yards outside of their perimeter of their house. So if it attracts a predator or whatever, it doesn't come in their house or whatever. Well, the Christmas morning, they go outside and the pig head is missing, so they know something is in the pit, and they go down in the father and Pietre look in the pit, and they kind of just show a glimpse of it. You're not sure what it is. He tells Pietre to go into the house, and the dad extracts whatever it is from the pit and drags it to his butcher shop in the back of his house, where we later find out it's a person.
Yeah, it's an old man,
person,
an old Santa Claus looking man,
an old Santa Claus looking man, and he's really creepy. And
which they all find out later too, that he also has extreme strength and is not as docile as they thought he was.
Yes,
so.
They thought he was dead at first.
Yeah,
and
that was the whole thing. He starts calling his friends up because he thinks he accidentally murdered someone.
Yeah,
which then the kid keeps telling him, no, that's the evil, that's the monster, and then they obviously eventually learn that it is.
Yes, and in the film, he's labeled as Pietre's elf, and he's played by Peter Jacoby, and he did a really awesome job, I think. He was super creepy in this movie, And it just goes on, and a lot of stuff happens. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of spoilers that we could be doing right now. So we're trying to like play it close to our chest right now. So, but I mean, for right there, I think that's good enough to like really make you want to see it. So.
And the endings, the ending of the movie is pretty cool too.
Yeah,
it's definitely different.
There's like 2 or 3 twists actually at the end where you're like, wait, what? Because like you're watching it the whole time, kind of being like, well, I know how this is gonna end, and then within like an hour in. You just start like all these things just start changing. You're like, wait, that's not what's happening. It is pretty cool.
I definitely say it's a good one to watch.
So
yeah, that sums up pretty much the plot. We can go into pros and cons about the movie. I think we both kind of like it, but
I mean, I got a lot of pros. Like I said, this is a pro, I guess. Like I said, it's a subtitled film. And within 10 minutes in, you don't even realize you're reading or anything. And it's also too. The kind of a big deal because with horror movies, and especially with how visual this is, like you really are watching the screen and reading. So it's not like just a movie where you just have to read and know what's going on with the dialogue. So again, like I really had no idea that I was just reading.
It's not slow in any way. It's not fast paced. It's kind of right there in the middle where you want it. It just kind of drives itself to when you're watching it.
Also,
so what would you say your pro?
Well, also again another pro, like we said, visually freaking amazing. Like it was just a beautiful film. It gives you again that heart-warm feeling because it's Christmas.
It does. It reminds me of a Christmas story.
Yeah, I'll definitely say I think from now on this will be my Christmas Eve horror movie.
It could be.
It could be. I think it is going to be mine. There's not many out there, so.
I always watch Evil Dead on Christmas Eve.
Really?
For some reason, I've done that the last. I
always watch some kind of horror movie, but I think this could definitely become part of that.
Yeah.
That lineup for sure. Okay, cons. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I just want to add pros. I really like the music in this. The music was really good. It was pretty original.
See, I don't even really remember.
I just watched it again recently, so they do a lot of violin, like screechy violin parts and stuff like that. It's just really cool how they did it. And again, Fake Graphics Inc. for doing the graphics is really good too.
Okay.
As far as cons, there's not too many.
I know. I'm trying to think because even the kids are funny in it. Like they're actually good actors in it. Even the kids are. Who are like the main characters. I thought they were pretty good.
They were good. But see, the thing that's hard for me as like an American is like it's hard to tell when you're watching a movie that's out of another country, another origin, if it's good acting on their part.
Oh, I got it.
Because I'm reading what they're saying and not listening to what they're saying, like the tonality in their voice when they're.
Well, I guess that is true. Physically, what they were doing, and the main character's friend is just funny looking. He looks like Sputnik from Salute Your Shorts.
He does.
So.
He's got a little
ginger head kid. So. But cons, I'm really the only maybe a little slightest con. This is like just really digging for something. Is you can tell the graphics aren't up to like American graphics, like CGI wise. Do you not agree with that?
I don't really remember much CGI. The only CGI I really remember is like when it's snowing, like snowflakes come down.
No,
really
but
slow.
at the end, again, I don't want to give it away, but there's some,
at the end,
there's like this giant. I mean, you could just tell the CGI. Like again, we're spoiled rotten in America with our CGI. Like even our TV shows look probably better than some of these foreign films I've seen when it comes to like CGI and graphics. But again, this is me really pulling for something as a con. So besides that, I thought it was awesome.
But I thought it was still good.
No, I do too. Again, that was me really trying for something.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. If you're trying for something.
Okay, so rating 1 through 4. 4 again being the best, 1 being the worst, and 2, in the middle.
It's okay.
3, it's mediocre even more. But.
Well, what would you give it? We'll start with you.
Honestly, I have it written down right here. I give it 4 stars, or whatever our rating system is. I give it a 4, meaning I thought it was awesome.
You know what? I think I agree.
I couldn't pull one thing where I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. Like, it was just a fun, and it's not like this prolific, like, oh, this was like the best horror movie I've ever seen. It was just a fun horror movie.
It was good. It was good because it was original. It was good because it had an original story to back it up.
Exactly, and I never seen anything like that.
It was cool that it was in another country. All the actors were really good, in my opinion. When the parts were supposed to be creepy, they were super creepy. When it was supposed to be like. You're supposed to think about something.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen some like 1 or 2 other, like we said, Jack Frost. I've seen some other Christmas themed horror movies, and they're just absolutely horrid.
Yeah.
So this one definitely, and I think that's why I'm giving it 4 stars too, because I'm pulling it out of its like own category almost. Like it's its own Christmas horror category. So I give it a 4 though.
I'm gonna agree with Lawrence, and I'm gonna give it a 4 as well.
And if you guys listen to this like in the next week or two, and again maybe even a year, that's a year ago when we saw it on there. It's on Netflix, and I think it is on Amazon Prime.
You can get it at Amazon Prime, I think. I use Vudu as an app.
Yeah,
well.
I mean you'd have to rent it there,
rent
but it's for free. If you're a member on Amazon and Netflix, it's definitely on there. So
Actually, it was on Netflix. That's where I found it. It was
Yeah.
Netflix for free. So definitely watch it. So that's our rating. This is the portion where we're going to go into our 60 seconds in the dead pit.
this is the Dead Pit.
This is
Week we are going to be discussing. Last week we did a trailer, and again we call it 60 seconds in the Dead Pit. It's going to vary
We
on
always go
time,
over,
but
yes.
we'll just call it the Dead Pit from now on, I guess.
the dead pit.
But this is the segment of the show where we're going to discuss either up and coming trailers or like up and coming horror movie actors, makeup, kind of like whatever we want, any kind of an open forum more or less. And this week we're actually going to discuss an up and coming horror movie that just got the go-ahead, the green light, and we're very, very excited about this
Yes,
one.
yes.
The Army of Darkness 2,
Yes.
the part of the Evil Dead trilogy. Ash, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
So
Me and Lawrence are obsessed with Army of Darkness 1, so it's...
I'm obsessed with all of them, honestly.
well, yes, but I love Army of Darkness. I just always have.
See, I'm Evil Dead 2, definitely.
Evil Dead
but-
2. Well, yes, it's hard. They're all good. They're all good. But Army of Darkness 2.
And it has been confirmed, and Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi both have signed on.
Yep.
And I just looked last night, actually, and they do have an official page on IMDb. So, I mean, I know anyone can really make one, but that's the first time I've seen it where they actually had one up there. So.
And I'm sure there'll be more information coming out in the next few months about it.
But let's go on that. Like, Army of Darkness 2. So it is going to be a sequel to Army of Darkness, which we all... I'm not going to even...
So it's not...
I'm not
prequel,
giving
it's
this...
gonna be a
I'm not
sequel.
giving this away.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone should. If you didn't, shame on you for not seeing Army of Darkness.
Yes.
But at the end, he obviously takes the potion and travels back in time, and he ends up at Shop Smart.
Yeah.
Shop S Smart
Shop
or whatever
Smart, Shop
it is.
S Smart,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
So, like, where do you think they're going to go from this? Like, I said, like, where, like, is it going to be in the same time period? Is it going to be in our time period? Like, there's so many options.
That's what's going to be interesting because I feel like they can't go back. You know what I mean? They can't go back.
Well, that's what
again.
I'm saying. Exactly. So how are they going to have him go back to this time period? Because they did say it's going to be taking place for him to go fight some more Deadites in, like, this evil, like, medieval time period.
I think either way it's going to be cool.
No, it would have been...
I think if they do it in our time period, could you just imagine it in our time period?
That would be cool. No, that'd be cool. Maybe I could see that happening where they, like, somehow a portal gets open into our world now, and all the Deadites and stuff are coming into now, and he has to, like, protect our world from it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but that would be more like that's already one of his films. That's
No,
My
no.
Name is Bruce. He already did a film kind of like that in our time period.
Oh. Well, I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to see
I know.
that.
That's my bad.
Yeah, My Name is Bruce. That's a good one.
No.
That one's cheesy though. That one's
Okay.
supposed to be real
Now,
cheesy.
have you ever seen the behind the scenes, like the deleted scene of the ending for Army of Darkness?
I don't think so.
Oh my god. Now, this would be awesome. This is another one where they give him a potion, but this time I think they do that in the first one too. They bury his car, right? Or no, he just takes the potion and does his cutscene or something. But in the deleted scene of an alternate ending, they take his car, the classic Cadillac,
Yeah.
and they bury it in a cave, and he takes a potion where he's supposed to sleep until he gets to his time period. But he actually ends up oversleeping, and he comes out with this giant beard on, and it ends up being like this like post-apocalyptic world where like the Big Ben's there, like all these famous things, Statue of Liberty's like fallen over, and like the world's just a complete mess of chaos. So how cool would that be? Almost like Evil Dead meets Road Warrior, post-apocalyptic.
I don't know.
I think that'd be sick.
It could be cool. There's so many post-apocalyptic movies coming out.
That's
know
true.
what I mean?
Mad Max is coming out with Tom Hardy and stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not horror.
But that's
I'm
not
sorry.
horror. But we also love Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
so we
Tom
might as well
Hardy's
put him in
awesome.
there, so.
But okay, well, I mean that
pretty much sums it
That's
up.
just our ideas right now. Again, we'll come to you if we have any more information.
Obviously,
on
there's
that.
no trailers out or anything yet, so it's hard to even tell.
Yeah,
what's,
right now
what
it's
gonna
just
be like.
strictly speculation and our dream of what it hopefully will be. So
Yes. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into our program. Again, we are Colossals of Horror. This was episode 2. And make sure you stay tuned to all of our social network sites. We have posts, links for iTunes, our Facebook. Feel free to email us if you have any questions or if you'd like to call in maybe to an episode.
Yeah, we're going to start working on that soon.
Yeah, we're going to work on having people call in. I know in the next few weeks we're going to be having a director and an actor on the program.
A local one,
A local one, and he's got he's definitely doing the film circuit right now, so trying to promote his film.
Definitely just look forward to it. We're going to definitely be trying to get a lot of our friends in on here because they're also crazy movie buffs, and so there's a lot more coming.
There's a lot coming, yes. So again, thank you for tuning into Colossals of Horror, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, keep the horror alive, guys.
That's
Later.
Right.